Welcome to the 2025 MLS Playoff Special. I'm Chris Ransom, and I'm going to break these games down from start to finish. And we'll break down the actual matchups on Saturday. We will break down all of the actual matchups on Saturday, folks, in their entirety. But tonight, I'm going to do a full-length preview of the MLS playoffs, what I think is going to happen from start to finish. So let's get rocking and rolling. We're going to start with the first series, the wild card game tonight between Orlando and Chicago. Chicago's got three midfielders with 10 or more assists. They've got a striker that can get double-digit goals. There's nothing else about their team that's spectacular. They only recorded 6 shutouts. Orlando has Duncan McGuire back from an injury. They've got Ojeda at attacking midfielder. They've got a right winger with 10 or more goals who filled in when McGuire was injured at striker. So Orlando's got a really good core, and their 8 shutouts do best Chicago's 6 shutouts. Chicago only has 1 double-digit scorer, but they have 3 players with 10 or more assists. This does feel like a pretty even matchup. I think if Orlando can knock out Chicago, they could pose a serious threat to the Philadelphia Union. However, if Chicago knocks out Orlando, they will win their first playoff game since 2009. Give me the Chicago Fire 2-1 in overtime over the Philadelphia Union tonight. Not the Philadelphia Union. I'm not picking the Union to lose to Chicago. Give me the Chicago Fire over the Orlando City SC. I think the Fire, they have to send a statement to the league that we're here to compete, we're here to play. And, you've got a home game against Orlando City SC. It's a play-in game. You win this game, your playoff drought is over, and then you get to go to Chester, Pennsylvania to take on the Philadelphia Union, the Supporters' Shield winner, the best team in the regular season this year. And I like Chicago 2-1 over Orlando tonight. And then we get to the second game. The second game is Real Salt Lake versus Portland. Neither of these teams is a 10-goal striker, and neither of these teams is really going to be a legitimate threat to San Diego FC, in my honest opinion. So give me Portland, because at least Portland last year, they had 3 double-digit goal scorers. FC Dallas, they traded Jesus Ferreira away, and they still, Real Salt Lake just doesn't look like a very good team. I know they made the playoffs, but I think a team like Colorado Rapids or the San Jose Earthquakes would have presented a bigger threat. Real Salt Lake is a team that did just enough to get in, and now they're going to get. I like Portland and I like Chicago. I like both 8 seeds to win tonight in front of their home crowds. Now we'll get to the actual MLS playoffs. We've got Inter Miami CF versus Nashville SC. I like Inter Miami here. Nashville, both these teams have great strikers. Both these teams have, both these teams have excellent strikers. Both these teams have excellent Nashville SC, Lionel Messi for Miami. I don't see Messi losing 2 years in a row. Messi lost to Atlanta last year. I'm looking at the total shutouts for each team to see if they're, because I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 shutouts, but their last shutout came in July on Star Wars night. Their last shutout came on Star Wars night against Toronto. So they haven't recorded a shutout since July. I'm looking at Miami because both teams are complete on paper. They both have the striker. They both have the star attack fielder. They both have strong back lines. But I just don't see Messi losing 2 years in a row. But I want to look at what Miami has done. This is what I've been doing the last hour. I've been researching like hell. One shutout in March. 2 shutouts in April. 3. 4. 5. 6. So they have 6 shutouts on the year. Nashville has 10. Nashville has been more consistent, but the thing is, I don't see Messi. I think Messi's going to go on a run in these playoffs, and I don't see Messi losing 2 years in a row in the opening round of the MLS playoffs. It's not going to happen. Give me Miami to win. But this is going to be a very tight, very competitive series. I'll say this much. If Nashville SC can pull the upset, they can go on a run. Because the winner of this series is going to play the winner of FC Cincinnati Columbus. Hell is real rivalry in the second round of the playoffs. In the conference semifinals, the Eastern Conference semifinals, because you got the play-in games, then you got the quarterfinals for the Eastern Conference. And the winner of this Eastern Conference quarterfinal series, I think the bottom bracket's actually stronger than the top bracket, but give me Miami to move on. I like Miami to beat Nashville. And the next series involves Next series involves Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia Union are going to play the winner of Orlando Chicago. Philadelphia Union, they have the best back line in the MLS. They have a striker, Barbary, with 11 goals. They have Kai Wagner, who's been excellent at left back, 11 assists, 10 assists at left back. They have 2 center backs who've been phenomenal. They have a right back. The Philadelphia Union back line has recorded 14 shutouts on the season, which is most of any back line in all of Major League Soccer. And Andre Blake, starting goalie, has recorded 9 shutouts this year after missing multiple stints with an injury. But Andre Blake is healthy now. The Union are at their best. It's going to be very hard to score on this Union team. I don't think the Fire can beat the Union in a 2-game series. Now, if the Fire played this game at Soldier Field instead of SeatGeek Stadium, I think they'd have a chance. But, right now, I like the Union over the Fire. Now, if Orlando wins, this is where I think things get interesting. If Orlando beats Chicago tonight, I think they go into Philadelphia and they beat the Union. Because I think Orlando actually does have the personnel to upset the Union. Now that Duncan McGuire's back from his injury, he had 2 shoulder surgeries. Philadelphia, it's interesting. Matthew Doyle said Philadelphia is not an MLS Cup team. They have the best goalie. They have the 2 best center backs. They have the best left back, the best right back in all of MLS. But that doesn't matter because they don't have any midfielders that can generate points for their offense. So that was his thought process of putting the Union in tier 2, and they were the best regular season team. Let's not act like that doesn't matter. It does to a degree, but it's like I honestly think Orlando can beat Philadelphia. And if Miami's going to get to the MLS Cup, they are going to have to go through there's probably going to be some upsets. Okay? I think Orlando as a 9 seed can beat Philadelphia. I think Columbus as a 7 seed can beat FC Cincinnati. They beat them they've beaten them on the road before in a 1-game series, but this is best 2 out of 3. But I think give me Philadelphia over Chicago. But do not be surprised if Orlando beats Chicago and then beats Philadelphia and then goes on a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm going to have Philadelphia in the next round. I just think they have too many pieces right now. Vancouver plays FC Dallas. The Vancouver Whitecaps recorded 12 shutouts on the year. Give me the Whitecaps to move on They don't have a striker that can record double-digit goals, but Matthew Doyle believes they're the best team in the Western Conference. San Diego FC playing Portland. Now, San Diego's got 4 quality center backs. Potty McMahon and Manu Dua, the number 1 pick in the MLS Super Draft, are the starters. But their backup center back, their number 3 center back, just got a 2-year contract extension. And Ian Pilcher, their second first-round pick's the number 4 center back. So they're 4 deep at center back. And I think Snapdragon Stadium is going to be a very loud place to play in. When we've got 11 people on X. Because Restream's not showing me the actual listeners on X, but we have 11 on X, and we have 1 on Rumble. So I would like Restream. So the Restream numbers are inflated to a degree. The live viewers, because we have 11 on X, and we have 1 on Rumble, so that's 12. We have 12 people watching this. So to the 12 people that are watching this, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch me talk about soccer. But the next series, I like San Diego. I think their back line is too strong for Portland, and I think Snapdragon Stadium. And if San Diego goes on the road to play somebody like somebody that's not on the West Coast, like an FC Dallas could probably beat San Diego at home, or Austin. They're playing a team that's not that far from a traveling perspective in either Real Salt Lake or Portland in the next round. I think they sweep the next round, and San Diego FC moves into the next round. And then after that, Cincinnati plays Columbus. Give me Cincinnati. Both these teams have strong backline. Well, Cincinnati's got a really good backline. Columbus doesn't have the backline this year. Columbus has the striker. They've got Darlington Nagbe, who's a very steady, very consistent midfielder, team captain, great leader, and they've got Patrick Schultz at goalie. They don't have anybody else besides those 3. The back line has been awful for Columbus this year, and Joey did pick FC Cincinnati to win the MLS Cup on this podcast back in February. I think FC Cincinnati, they're going to move on to the next round. FC Cincinnati, they're going to beat Columbus Crew. They're going to get even. Roman Celentano is going to get his first playoff win against Patrick Schultz, but Celentano and Schultz were the top 2 goalies in the 22 MLS draft, and they've already met each other once in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals back in 2023. I believe that FC Cincinnati, they even the series, they make this a rivalry, and this goalie rivalry, it's the new it thing in Major League Soccer. So we have 1 on Twitch, 1 on Kick, 1 on Rumble, 1 on Kick, 1 on Twitch, 1 on Rumble, and an additional 11 people, 12 people now on X. So we have 14 people watching. So thanks, guys. Next up, we've got the Seattle Sounders versus Minnesota United. I'm taking Seattle is a safe pick in this series because Seattle, they've got Jordan Morris back from an injury. They traded for Jesus Ferreira. Albert Rusnak, still deadly at left winger. And then you've got an attacking midfielder with 15 goals and 14 assists. So I think the Sounders have a very potent attack. This is an attack. If they get on the scoreboard, they can rattle goalie Dane St. Clair. They can rattle Dane St. Clair if they get on the scoreboard. And their defense is very good too. Seattle's defense produced 10 shutouts on the season. Seattle's a team that could lose to Minnesota in the first round, but they could also get to the MLS Cup. Seattle really is the boomer bust team in the Western Conference because they have all the components. Like, we've been looking all season since we've done our MLS season previews back in February for a team that checked off every box in the Western Conference, and it's just not there this year. I mean, the Galaxy blew up their team after they won the MLS Cup. Last year, the Galaxy were the only team with a good starting 11 in the entire Western Conference, and they won the MLS Cup because all the teams that had good starting 11s got knocked out of the playoffs early. So, and there was just so much chaos, so much parity. I don't think we're going to get that type of chaos again. I think this year we're going to see fewer upsets. Things are going to go back to normal. But give me Minnesota to beat Seattle Sounders in 3 games. I think Dane St. Clair look, if Seattle wants to win this series, they got to sweep Minnesota. They got to beat Minnesota in Minnesota, and then they got to go back to Lumen Field and win that game too. And if Seattle does that, they'll be in the next round. And I think San Diego FC, if they get Seattle, they will get they lose to Seattle. If they get Minnesota, they have a chance, but I think they would lose to Seattle. They'd have a chance against Dane St. Clair. But if they play Seattle, I just think Seattle, they have more shutouts. They have a more experienced team. I think that will matter in the grand scheme of things. But unlike St. Louis, who lost after getting the 1 seed to the play-in team, I don't think San Diego is going to lose to the play-in team. And then the next series is Charlotte versus New York City FC. Charlotte, very good backline. I don't see anything special in New York City FC, but I guess I'll look up is Martinez and Wolf has 11 assists. So there are some good players on New York. Martinez has 17 goals at striker. Wolf has 11 goals at right winger. And Morales has 11 assists at attacking midfielder. So this offense is quite potent. And they ran with 5 defenders, 3 center backs, a left back, and a right back with the 5-4-1 formation. So I like New York City FC here, but I also want to see what Charlotte FC has before I pick a winner. I mean, New York City FC, they've got a right winger with double-digit goals, they've got a striker with double-digit goals, and they've got an attacking midfielder with double-digit assists. So their offense is potent, but how potent can they be? And I like Charlotte here. Let's look at what Charlotte FC has going for them. They have 2 players, Beal and Zaha, with 10 goals and 10 assists. So, but they are largely dependent on those 2 players. Patrick Egemong only played in 1 game. Patrick Egemong only had 6 goals and 1 assist in 15 games before his rights got bought out. If Egemong was still on Charlotte, I don't think Egemong is still on Charlotte. I think Egemong got sent to an international team. Yes, he is on Derby County. Derby County bought out his rights. So the first player Dave Tepper drafted. So none of the players that Charlotte drafted Charlotte drafted under Dave Tepper are on Charlotte anymore. Let's see where Beal and Zaha line up. Let's see where those 2 guys line up. Because I'm genuinely curious as to how many shutouts did Charlotte get this year. Zaha is the left winger, and Beal is the attacking midfielder. Beal is an attacking midfielder and Zaha is a left winger, so they still don't have that dominant striker now that Patrick Egamong has been bought out by Derby County. So, you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but give me I want to see how many shutouts Charlotte's posted this year. I do. That's ultimate because I think right now that's the thing. I do like Charlotte, but at the same token, I'm looking at their schedule and I'm saying, all right, how many shutouts did Charlotte record? And is it enough? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including one against New York City FC, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Charlotte FC recorded 13 shutouts. That back line is very good. So give me Charlotte. Give me Charlotte over New York City FC. I don't think the New York City FC's backline is as good as Charlotte's, and I think that is going to be the difference ultimately. So I think Charlotte FC, they're going to win their first playoff series in franchise history, and with them hosting the All-Star game next year, it's hard to say who's going to win the series, really, because New York City FC, if they can win the series, they'll generate some revenue for the new stadium they're building, and Charlotte's hosting the All-Star game. I think the MLS would rather see Charlotte in the next round. And I think Charlotte's defense is going to do just enough to keep New York City SC in check. So give me Charlotte. I think Charlotte moves on. And then the final series, LAFC versus Austin FC. Give me LAFC. They've got the striker. LAFC. I like LAFC in the next series. They've got a really good striker. And they added some players. They went out. They made moves in free agency. They want some trades done. One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Give me LAFC. They've got 12 shutouts. They've got a striker. They still have a strong team. I think a lot of people are writing them off because they have their midfield hasn't been as dominant as it was when they made the 22 and 23 MLS Cups. LAFC was Joey's preseason pick to make the MLS Cup. They were my preseason pick to get to the conference finals and lose the LA Galaxy, but the LA Galaxy aren't in the playoffs this year. So give me LAFC over Austin to win that final opening round series. All right. Now we're going to have some fun. We're going to dive into round 2 of this. I've already gotten 14 listeners and 2 more on restreams. So thank you guys. We're at 16 listeners now. All right. Second round of this, I'm going to start with the West and go to the East because I think the Eastern Conference is better than the West this year. Not slightly better. I think the East is significantly better. So I don't have any upsets. I have 0 upsets in the first round. I know that makes this less fun, but, I don't think last year there was a lot of chaos, a lot of upsets, and a lot of the teams that had good starting 11s in the East lost. And then the Galaxy, the only good team with a starting 11 in the West, was able to go on a run and make the MLS Cup. I don't think there's a team with a complete starting 11 in the Western Conference this year. I think Seattle Sounders have the closest thing to a complete lineup. But are they going to get past Minnesota? Because Minnesota, with Dane St. Clair, he is due for a playoff series win. I think he beats Seattle in 3 games. If it goes to penalty kicks, Minnesota's in trouble. But I think Dane St. Clair's finally going to win a playoff series. It's Minnesota versus San Diego. Snapdragon Stadium's just a pain in the butt to play in. Minnesota does have a goal-scoring striker, though, No, they don't. Neither of these teams has a dominant goal-scoring striker. Minnesota's got a great attacking midfielder, and they've got a left winger that can put up points. I like. This is tough. I'm gonna go with San Diego because Snapdragon Stadium. If they were playing in a non-football stadium, I would take Minnesota here. I really would. If San Diego FC was playing in a non-football stadium, but they're playing in Snapdragon Stadium, that's where the Aztecs play college football. So I think the crowd's going to be really loud. And you got Patty McNair, you've got Manu Dua, you've got a center back you just signed to a team-friendly extension as your number 3 defender off the bench, and you've also got Ian Pilcher off the bench as your number 4. So you're 4 deep at center back, and a lot of those MLS Cup winning teams are 4 deep at center back. So give me San Diego FC to win this game. I like them here. The next game features LAFC and Vancouver FC. I like LAFC to win this 1-game elimination because they're the team that's been Vancouver's kryptonite over the years. So I've got LAFC and San Diego FC in the Western Conference Finals. Next series is going to be Philadelphia Union versus Charlotte FC. Ben Bender. He was drafted by Charlotte, but Philadelphia got Ben Bender earlier this year. I'm not sure how. I'm going to look this up really quickly. They waived him. They didn't even trade Ben Bender. They waived him. They didn't even trade him. Yeah. Ben Bender had a really good rookie year, but he's been a bench player the last 2 years. And this happened back in May. Well, we were still covering the NFL draft, but I don't agree with that decision by Charlotte. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Philadelphia beat Charlotte, and Ben Bender is going to come off the bench and beat Dave Tepper and send Dave Tepper back to Charlotte because Charlotte decided to waive Ben Bender. So Ben Bender, he's going to come off the bench and knock Charlotte out of the playoffs. That's what's going to happen in that series. Inter Miami versus FC Cincinnati. This thing could, because that's the thing. I like Inter Miami to win this series over FC Cincinnati. Yeah, I know Inter Miami only has 6 shutouts, but they have Messi. They have the greatest soccer player in the world, and that's why they have a chance. I think Messi's going to carry them to an MLS Cup. I do. I think Lionel Messi's going to single-handedly, Lionel Messi, whatever his name pronunciation is, Messi is going to get Messi with these deep back lines. I like Miami to beat Cincinnati in single elimination. And I think Miami with Messi, because last year I picked Messi and Inter Miami to beat my LA Galaxy in the MLS Cup. So when all the good teams got knocked out, I'm like, phew, Galaxy might actually win this thing. And I was very happy as a fan. But in all seriousness, I think Inter Miami is going to go into FC Cincinnati, and they're going to knock them out of the playoffs. So that sets up a Western Conference Finals and an Eastern Conference Finals. And the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm going LAFC over San Diego, as there have only been two expansion teams that won the MLS Cup as expansion teams. DC United in 1996, which was the inaugural season of Major League Soccer. You can't count that. That was the first season of the league. So I don't think you can count that as a DC United as an expansion team, because that was the first season of the league. Everyone was an expansion team in 1996. I don't think you can count that. And then the Chicago Fire won an MLS Cup as an expansion team. And this is not as complete of a team as 98 Chicago Fire or 1996 DC United. And 96 DC United had Bruce Arena head coach too. So give me LAFC. They're going to make their 3rd MLS Cup in 4 years. But I really think the only Western Conference team that could win the MLS Cup this year is Seattle. But Seattle would have to go through Minnesota on the road. They would have to beat the San Diego on the road. They would have to beat LAFC or Vancouver road in the Western Conference Finals, and then they'd have to beat the Eastern Conference on the road. That is too much of a gauntlet for the Seattle Sounders. As great as they are, the biggest reason the Sounders have been consistent over the years is because, and the back line only had like 8 or 9 shutouts last year. The back line's done better this year, 10 shutouts for Seattle. And they've got a good back line, but I don't know if they've got that superstar goalie that can put them over the top. Is Stefan Frey still on the Sounders? He is. Stefan Frey is still on the Sounders. So Frey, 39 years old. This might be his last go at it. $610,000. So you see, MLS teams, they're able to keep their star players, and they're able to keep them for under $1 million, which amazes me. But soccer's just not as popular as football or basketball or baseball. I like, if Stefan Frey can get by Dane St. Clair, I think Seattle Sounders could very easily knock out San Diego, because if I'm San Diego and I'm given the choice between Seattle and Minnesota, I would rather play Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have a dominant striker either. They do have a good attacking midfielder and a left winger that can get 10 goals, but they don't have a dominant striker. And you're going to need a dominant striker to beat a team like San Diego. And LAFC has a dominant striker. That's really what separates them from San Diego. So LAFC over San Diego is my Western Conference pick. My Eastern Conference champion is going to be Inter Miami CF and Messi over the Philadelphia Union. And look, Inter Miami CF could very easily end up with home field in the playoffs if Orlando knocks out Philadelphia, and if Orlando knocks out Philadelphia and Columbus knocks out Cincinnati again, we could get chaos like last year, and Lionel Messi would have home field in the next 2 rounds of the playoffs. So Messi could very easily end up with home field in the Eastern Conference if the right teams end up playing each other. But yeah, I've got Inter Miami CF and LAFC in the MLS Cup, and my winner is Inter Miami CF. I think Inter Miami CF with David Beckham. It's going to be a David Beckham versus Magic Johnson MLS Cup. I think these are the two most star-struck owners in Major League Soccer. David Beckham is the owner of was the owner of Inter Miami, former LA Galaxy soccer player, and Magic Johnson's the owner of LAFC. So David Beckham, Magic Johnson, I think these are probably the two best owners in Major League Soccer. And they made the trade on draft day. If you remember, they made the trade from who's the UMass striker that LAFC drafted? Alec Hughes. Trade with David Beckham on MLS draft day for Alec Hughes. Lionel Messi has 29 goals. Luis Suarez has 10 goals at striker. Alande, the winger, has 11 goals. Segoy, 8 goals, 6 assists. But Messi and Suarez have dominated attacking midfielder and striker. The wingers have been good as well. And I believe, because Messi's got a league-high 29 goals, 19 assists this season. He's completed 81% of his passes during the regular season. He's been incredible. He's had so I believe Messi and Suarez, former FC Barcelona teammates, are going to be the two that win the MLS Cup, and I believe it's going to be I want to look at the standings really quick. Because I'm pretty certain Miami would have home field over LAFC, but I'm just double checking. I'm double checking to see how that would go. 66, 65, 65, and then the Western Conference, it was 63, 60. So, yeah, LAFC would have to go on the road to Vancouver, go on the road to San Diego, and then if they win those games, they would have to go on the road to Miami. And if you thought LAFC traveling from Los Angeles to Columbus was a bitch, traveling from LA to Miami, that's going to be a whole nother story in its own right. So I have LAFC losing the MLS Cup to Inter Miami. So I'll make a bracket. I'll screen share the bracket and then we'll end the show. Because I want to make a bracket. Build my bracket. All right, so we'll screen share the bracket here, and I'll recap everything one more time, and then we're going to sign off, because the bracket challenge, we could also save the bracket challenge for Saturday, but I'm going to share the bracket with you guys, the MLS bracket. I'm going to share that with you guys, and then I'm going to build my own bracket. So, yeah. No, we want that. There we go. So, we're going to build a bracket here. And we're going to pick San Diego. We're going to pick Philadelphia. No upsets. There's going to be no upsets in the first round. None. So all the top 4 seeds are going to win. San Diego's going to win. Philadelphia's going to win. Miami's going to knock out FC Cincinnati. That's going to be like the first big upset. And then LAFC is going to knock out Vancouver. And then we're going to have Miami and LAFC in the conference finals. And it's going to be Miami. Whole bracket. Total number of goals in the whole tournament. 27. I honestly do not know how many goals there are going to be. I think I got to choose my iPad to sign in. I got to use my iPad to sign in. Okay, my ID is set up. Perfect. And I'm going to submit this. So I'm going to lock in the bracket here. And yeah, I've got Inter Miami CF winning the whole thing. Lionel Messi, he is the best soccer player in the world. He led Argentina to the FIFA World Cup. He's going to win an MLS Cup. He should have won one last year when Miami had the #1 seed, but they've had much fewer shutouts this year. The defense, the back line, the goaltending's been a lot sloppier. I don't think that'll matter. As long as Messi goes on a run, they're going to win this thing. And I'm going to go with Miami here. They're playing a Nashville team that has 12 shutouts, though, 10 or more shutouts. So Nashville could very easily knock them off. But I'm going to take, I'm going to have Miami as the MLS Cup champions. So that is the show. I have NFL articles. I got to edit the NFL game recaps, and I've got to get predictions up for tomorrow. So that'll do it for today. Thank you guys for tuning into our MLS playoff special. Oh, and we'll have, we'll revisit this on Saturday after we do the offensive tackle rankings, and we'll get Joey and Williams' input on the games. So yes, see you then.